Hey folks, it's Moxley here and welcome to another TEW 2020 video. We are AEW pay-per-view time and we have Full Gear, our November event. We go into this one with a very strong Dynamite that got the 87 last time. So we're hoping tonight's main event can draw well. As you can see, we've added a major band, a B-list celebrity and just 100,000 on a special set. So we are really going all out here, which will also be our first time on the Dish Network, Dish Mexico and Star Choice. So hopefully, emphasis on hopefully, the bigger exposure can give us some well needed resources so we can expand not only in AEW Live, but then we can be a bit more confident that going to two shows and having a bigger roster was the right idea. Last year we had Jon Moxley retain the AEW World title against Cody in the main event, and ironically our co-main event was a cage match between Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. Of course, the Steel Cell match, the cage match, is back this time, and is of course Sammy Guevara taking on Jon Moxley, with of course your main event for the AEW World title between MJF and the champion Pac. It's a long show, so without further ado, let's crack on. This is this year's AEW Full Gear. So I'm glad to say we are at a sold out Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas. 45,000 people in attendance, so quite a good gate. And we start off with some pre-show matches before the bell properly goes. Eddie Kingston defeats Brandon Cutler in 8:22 with a backdrop driver, a 43. Kingston's 47 against Cutler's 30. We had Anna Jay defeat Killer Kelly in a 32 rated matchup within 8 minutes and 9 seconds. A 31 performance for Anna Jay and a 28 for Killer Kelly. We had the EU, the team of Claudio Castagnoli and Miro, get the win over the Dark Order's Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, when Castagnoli pinned Evil Uno with the neutralizer. A 67 here, some pretty good performances in this tag team division match. And we had Brian Pillman Jr. pick up the victory over Matt Hardy in 12:18 with the Tornado DDT. A 67 rated matchup here, with Pillman's 66 taking on Matt's 62. And we also had a terrible pre-show match that had Absolute Ricky Starks defeat Samurai Del Sol in 11:37 with the Buster Keaton. Both guys pretty similar in performance, and a 58 was the official match rating between the Luchador and the member of Uprising. So we start the show bang straight out the park with the 100 promo. That's what we want. It's Pac and MJF talking about their chances of winning tonight's main event. Pac saying, you know, he's faced many challenges on this road to defending the AEW World Championship. He'd been locked in isolation, he had been basically banished to the sidelines, and it's all stuff that motivates him and fuels him. And MJF can try what he wants. He's got Wardlow, he's got Ricky Starks, but at the end of the day, whatever is put in his in path, he's going to basically take them out. Jon Moxley just says he got put in the shelf by one of the members of the Inner Circle. Of course, that was Santana. And it's time that he does his payback. He defeats Sammy Guevara, he puts him in the shelf, and of course gets revenge for that loss last month in the 2 out 3 falls match. It's inside a steel cage, so no Inner Circle member can enter, so can Moxley get the win. The 100 segment takes the pressure off the match basically between Pac and MJF, which will main event, because we've already got our 100 rated segment. We started off with the Inner Circle in action, and it was Proud and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz in action. And a decent matchup. Proud and Powerful defeated Jurassic Express in 13:36 when Santana pinned Jungle Boy. This gave Proud and Powerful their third defence of the AEW World Tag Titles, a very respectable 76. You can see there though, Santana and Ortiz 70 and 83, they're really getting over. They've been booked strongly and it's been replicated in their in-ring performances. And as much as it was good to give Jurassic Express another opportunity, I'm quite happy with the title run continuing of Santana and Ortiz. Next up we had the AEW Women's Championships, Tag Team Championships on the line. In an abysmal matchup, Mayu Iwatani and Riho defeated Abaddon and Priscilla Kelly in 14:06 when Iwatani pinned Abaddon with a frog splash. This was the first defence of the AEW World Tag Championships, and a 50 is not too bad. You can see there Abaddon, the weak link, offered game. It's too early to put the title belts on the inner circle, it's not inner circles, the Dark Order members, but you've got to at least give Riho and Mayu Iwatani some title defences, so happy with that. It's still a work in progress, that division. We then had a hype package which was showcasing, you know, the relationship, of course, between Will Ospreay and Bea Priestley, and it says they basically signed a deal to ensure that these two will compete tonight against Kenny Omega and Hikaru Shida for the AEW Mixed Tag Team Championships. And you know what? That match is next. So a 52, because obviously one's overness is far greater than the others. And the match itself was a respectable 71, and it was a decent matchup that saw Kenny Omega and Hikaru Shida defeat Will Ospreay and Bea Priestley in 14:08 when Shida pinned Priestley with the Majo no Ichigeki. Fourth defence of the AEW Mixed Tag Team Championships for Omega and Shida. A big win on the big occasion should hopefully give Shida a bit of a pop increase. 71 is good, there'll be a few negatives there, obviously you can tell the difference in their ring performance. That's why they're together, to try and help the bigger picture. And because obviously face and heel. But we've a loosely enforced face heel divide, so it shouldn't affect it too much, but happy with that. Kenny Omega continue to do good work in the mixed tag division. Moving along, we have the man who has accepted the challenge of AJ Styles. Styles basically comes out to the ring and says, right, who is it? Who's going to face me? And it is another man with quotes from WWE, but someone I could certainly see in AEW at one point. The Samoan Submission Machine, who obviously debuts that gimmick, and Samoa Joe's gimmick was adequate. So 69, Joe versus AJ, and that matchup drew a 70 as Joe defeats AJ in 11:56 with the Kukuna Clutch. If you're going to debut like that, you're obviously going to win. So great chemistry between them. Samoa Joe's getting better his gimmick. The reason obviously only 1767, they're not in their prime, they're in their early 40s now, so I think AJ has a bad decline. I don't know if Joe does, not yet, but you can see AJ is really struggling, so we'll never get an AJ Styles in the main event, but it's still cool to have AJ around, and a good win for Samoa Joe. Maybe that can be a challenge in the save though. Despite the decline, get AJ Styles back to the top. The tag match was up next between Saraya and Kairi Hojo and Ali and Penelope Ford. It didn't have much heat and it had terrible wrestling, but Saraya and Hojo defeat Ali and Ford in 10:06 when Saraya pinned Ali with the backstabber. A 61 is pretty respectable, I'm happy with that. You can see the array of performances. Penelope's obviously one that's got more to gain here than everybody else. But of course you've got to keep Saraya and Hojo with the win and the momentum because they are the upper echelon of our women's division. We then had the matchup between Prince Devitt and Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. It was a good matchup. Prince Devitt does defeat Darby Allin in 1951 when Darby Allin was disqualified via an Evil Uno interference. So he loses the match, but he retains the TNT Championship. So a 74 is respectable. It was a tough one to book because Devitt's not over in this. He's only like 65 compared to Darby's low, in fact high 80s I believe. So obviously I didn't want to take the title off Darby, but I wanted Devitt to look strong and I wanted the dream match. So the DQ was the best idea. Unfortunately Darby still wanted to be protected, so I had to obviously keep him strong. So that probably drops it from maybe even a 77 or 76. But the reason I had the first match, Full Gear's a more reputable pay-per-view for AEW. You want those big name matches, and it leads to obviously down the line you can have a second and a third bout, and hopefully Devitt's get a bit more popularity about him, and these two can have a hell of a programme. But 74, and after the matchup, obviously Darby Allin's beating down Devitt, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson jumps in, so the 3-on-1 beatdown leads to a save. So the three members of the Dark Order beating down Prince Devitt before the Young Bucks come down and make the save. So an 80 rating there. Uno and Grayson look lost. The Bucks look $1,000,000. And after this we have the three of them, two sweeting each other. Is this a hint of something? But Prince Devitt, of course, one of the men who created the Bullet Club and the man who brought in Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson. So a wee bit of historical information there, putting together these three. But an 81, I'm happy with that, and well, we'll see where this goes in the upcoming episodes of Dynamite. Then had the over-the-top spectacular entrance for Mercedes Varnado. Of course, she will be in action against Kris Statlander, and her matchup was only a 57. Terrible matchup. Mercedes defeats Kris in 13:54 by submission with a bank statement. Statlander with 53, Varnado with a 58. Of course, she's not the most over in this, despite how phenomenal she is. So they're actually quite close in terms of everything, but we really want these two to get to the elite level. And the only negative was the experience of Ronaldo, Callis, and CM Punk, or just CM Punk, sorry, and Ronaldo, because Callis has got impact duties. Being the CEO, he has to be there. So 57, it's okay, but it just shows the lengths we still need to go in our women's division. And after the matchup, Mercedes just decides to absolutely beat her down to the ground. She is relentless, and she just leaves the ring smug as if she's done something really good. So 53, and yeah, looking to extend that program between Mercedes and Kris. We then have the Trios Championship on the line. It was a poor matchup, and as you would expect, End of War, Tommy End, Hanson and Raymond Rowe defeated the Best Friends in Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, when Tommy End pinned Chuck Taylor with a roundhouse kick. Meaning new Trios champions, End of War. A 70s respectable there, and you can see Tommy End and Orange Cassidy way above the rest, and quite poorly Chuck Taylor and Trent down there with 48 and 53, although to be fair, they've had everything from being ran down in this series to, yeah, just being a second and third wheel to Orange Cassidy. So hopefully better things in their future, but the dominant trio of End of War become your Trios champions. Co-main event time then. So Sammy Guevara hypes his upcoming match with Jon Moxley. Obviously he's a little bit nervous going into a steel cage, but he thinks like he's still got the skill level and the natural ability to defeat Jon Moxley, even if it is a match type that favours him. And that was only a 79. And the match itself was only a 76, and this was mostly because of the lack of psychology, which is fair enough. I think both have actually 76. I checked this before, but I'm still happy to give them like a long amount of time, even if they do have the lack of psychology. But an exceptional matchup. Moxley defeats Guevara in the cage match in 22:43 with the Death Rider. So a bit of revenge for Mox, a 76, 92 and 95 performances tell me if these two had psychology, then you could have been looking at even a 90 performance. But it's up to me. I need to obviously accept that Moxley probably won't get to the level I need him to in terms of psychology, but I can work with somebody like Sammy Guevara and hope that that is the case. And other negatives there: inconsistency and low experience. Mick Foley's backstage and he says to MJF, if you do not keep your uprising members in the back, then we will fire you after this show. So Wardlow, Ricky Starks stay at the back, and yeah, you can have your championship match. 68. MJF accepts this and just says, fine, if Foley doesn't want me to have two guys, cool. I'll go one-on-one with Pac and I will win the AEW World Championship, even if he's trying to put the odds against me. Obviously he's not, but the sarcasm from MJF. How will this main event deliver? Because obviously psychology will fail in this one. There we go, an 86 despite the lack of psychology. So that could have probably been a 100. Even though Pac's got like 81 psychology, I think I need to try and get to 85 just to try and get the big matches. But still, these two, more than happy with that 86. That should probably see us about an 89 rating. But anyway, and about that had unbelievable heat and superb wrestling. I had Pac defeat MJF in 23:51 with a 6:30 senton. During a matchup, we had Cody run in and attack MJF. Cody's back, of course, and well, if MJF screwed Cody, obviously Cody's going to do the same. And during a matchup, we had Mark Quinn come in and attack Pac, and he makes the 4th defence of the world title here. So yeah, basically, the newest member of Uprising, Mark Quinn, turn heel. The pretentious artist received an initial rating of adequate. So yeah, newest member of the Uprising stable. So Mark Quinn, MJF, Wardlow and Ricky Starks, 86 for that matchup. And we finished the show with MJF absolutely bolting as Cody tries to track him down. I think you know one of your matches for the December event, if it's end of the line or something else. It's always going to happen. So we finished the show with quite possibly our best ever event, which is good to see, a 92, so the boost certainly helped and increases our popularity in 56 regions. So I'm quite happy with that. I felt we covered a lot. We showcased our various divisions, the tag, the women's tag, the mixed. We had a lot of women's matches on the show as well. And so I was still missing a few guys. You know, we didn't have Cody technically in action, we didn't have Hangman or the Bucks all in action. So there's a lot more to come from AEW, but very happy with Pac and MJF in our main event. And I think you'll notice as well, we tend to do a lot of 1v1 matches, especially in the title matches, so there will be a phase where we'll eventually have triple threats and fatal 4-ways for various championships. No need to do a post-match show, or a post-match speech I should say. So we'll head back and we'll see if we benefited financially from the new pay-per-view deal, or is our continual wage bill going to hamper us. So 45,000 sellout, fantastic reviews, good. This is actually quite interesting because I was actually planning on putting these two together at one point, so that's good to know. Also, Nakamura's a done deal, he will sign. When he'll debut remains to be seen. Nick Jackson says that Allin needs to learn to sell. The viewing figures 0.14, I actually bricked it there when I saw that, a 0.14 and 108,114 viewers, but then at the bottom with 2.6 viewers, which means the buy rate was a 4.99, so the buy rate has absolutely smashed anything we've had before. So in terms of size, much better. Two good shows and we're straight back up to the 80s and 81s. Perfect. We can have that wee safety net, so you can have a few riskier main events and we won't suffer too much, but of course around the world plenty to go until we get to Titanic. Finances, well, there you go. I think we can start now putting our eggs in other baskets now, in investments and a developmental system, because profit, you can see there in the one underneath it, look at the pay-per-view revenue from October to October to November. 5.6 million, up pretty much close to that from October. So the good thing is it means we can go more out with the set and celebrities because the pay-per-view revenue will cover it. And yeah, it means we could maybe get a bit closer to 100 rated shows, which you need for the accomplishments. So I think that decision was good, and obviously the next big decision will be if the game allows us to, because we obviously lost the City deal, so hopefully that doesn't mean another 11 months for a new TV deal. But even if it means the second brand has higher ratings than Dynamite for a while, as long as we can start making money, because I think if we can get to like 30-40 million, we'll start going big. Obviously we've got AEW Live, but I'd quite like to start a subscription service as well, where we can certainly look at an AEW network and then have more events as well. So things are looking good. We are now on the road to our event at the end of December. At the moment it's the end of the line, but we'll make a decision over the next couple of weeks and the next couple of Dynamites. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you for the next episode. Take it easy, see you soon, good day and good night. Bye bye.